Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Break Room Banter. It's a hairstylist adjacent podcast where each week two friends who happen to be hairstylists break down our weeks in the break room. I'm your host, Hunter Walden, joined as always by my lovely co host,
Anna Schrader. And today we're super excited to have our good friend Amber with us. And Amber is a salon owner. She is a mother of two beautiful humans, also an educator. She's a style icon. Just go to her wonderful
go to her Instagram page.
She always has super cute outfits on. She is Premier Beauty Supply Educator of the Month. And she's just an all-around super cheerful, happy. She has a wonderful attitude. We love Amber, and we're super excited to have her on our episode. We know you guys are going to love her too. Welcome, Amber.
Woo! Amber!
Thank you, guys. Oh my gosh, I love you both so much. It is so exciting and fabulous that you guys are having me on the podcast. I am so grateful for both of you. You've both been so instrumental in my path as far as an educator and just as a human as well. So I love you both.
Aww.
Thanks, Amber.
Well, Amber, as a friend of the pod, you know that we start each episode off with our rose and thorn. So I think Anna went last week, so I'll go this week. I'll go first, and we'll just go around the room. So my rose is that I got so much done today. I got my whole house clean. It has been 2 weeks of not having a clean house or knowing where any of my clean clothes are. And now they are finally clean. That is my rose. And my thorn is that I had a really big booking mix up where a color correction that I should have been booked easily 4 hours for was just not booked like on my books at all. She had her appointment card that said that she had an appointment at that time. I had like 4 other appointments where she should have been. So that was my thorn. I have to work a little extra hard this week.
How did that happen?
I have no clue. But
and that happens. That's happened a couple times in our salon, and it's always like it's a huge panic. And in that case, it's like clearly there was a mistake.
Well, the receptionist came to me and told me what was going on, and I like started to sweat a little bit, And I was like, it's fine, I'll make it work. And then I went and looked at my books, and I was like, there's no way I can make this work. I will not do a good job. So I will come in on my day off and I will do your hair.
Oh, that was my next question. Like, how did the guest handle that?
She's just a gem, honestly. Like for anyone for that to have happened to, I'm glad it was her, because she is just so kind. She was so understanding. She was like, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, but it kind of is.
Yeah. And it's hard because you don't know. Sometimes It's hard to trace it back and figure out how it happened.
Yeah. So it is what it is, and it's going to work out now, but it sucked in the moment. So that was my thorn.
Oh, we had one of those a couple weeks ago, and the only thing is I know we never made her an appointment. She walked in and she's like, I'm here for my appointment, and she didn't have a confirmation text. There's no way I would have booked her in that spot. And so, but the customer is always right. So
is she though?
Well, it was just like, we had to apologize and say, we're so sorry for the mix up. Here's the next time you can get you in. No one came in on their day off for that, but we did book her an appointment as soon as we could. But it was frustrating because I know she did not have an appointment. Her name and number was not even in the computer. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. There's absolutely no way that we would have like made an appointment without her name and her number. So she was like, I know I had one today. And so we're like, oh, well, we're so sorry for the mix up, but yeah.
Wow.
Oh, well, that's annoying, Hunter. But I know you're gonna make it right, and it'll be
She's
good.
gonna have beautiful hair, just
Yep.
not on the day she thought.
How about you, Amber? Do you have time to think of a rose and a thorn?
I actually did. Today is the 18th, and I don't know about you guys, but today was tax day. And so I think that my rose for the week is that I am very grateful that I have people in place of my business that keep me in check and keep me accountable so that I am very comfortable with the amount of money that I might possibly owe to the IRS and that I have set aside those funds. And so my rose is that I have the money to pay my taxes. I got them sent off and all is well in the world. But my thorn is that it's tax day.
They always
Like,
go
wah,
together
wah.
so well.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm
Hard in
like,
everyone's flesh. It's just one of those, everyone hates it. Horrible.
it's
Right.
terrible.
It's nice to have people that can help you with it though.
For sure. Yeah. I
'Cause-
mean, like, it's been a few years where I've been keeping track of my own books, and I have accountants and stuff that help me along the way, but it's nice to not be surprised at the end of the year.
I bet surprises are
Yeah.
never fun, especially whenever they are coming out of your pocketbook.
Correct.
Yeah.
What about
Mhm.
you, Anna?
This week, let's see. I got to go snowboarding one more time. Hopefully, maybe there'll be another day. The hills are closed, so we just kind of did the whole hike up.
It's
like,
illegal.
go down. I don't think it's illegal. And then I got to go skiing. Today I went on a hike and I was outside in nature for a good part of the day and got to see some nice waterfalls and breathe some fresh air. So that definitely was a huge rose. And my thorn, I guess I'm just so ready for summer. I mean, I thought we were gonna get it, but then we had a huge snowstorm and it's just like slush city. And yeah. So that's my thorn. I'm just really sick of it, and I'm still taking my vitamin D pills, and I just want to be in the actual sun. So yeah.
Anna, I think that we're getting that snowstorm tonight. And I actually woke up this morning and the ground was white. I'm just outside of Chicago. So I was like, come on. For real. It is like almost May. The
Oh,
snow
then I
just
won't
needs
tell
to
you
go.
guys how the weather is here today.
Yeah. Hunter, you sent me a Snapchat of you like spring vibes, just driving along, and people are like outside biking and there's
In
grass.
shorts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and your garden looks really cute. So
Hey.
congratulations on that. We are here. I'm really excited to talk and like tap into your knowledge, Amber, and start hearing about your journey as a hairstylist. So how long have you been in the industry?
I think last month, so March would have made 24 years.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing.
So a minute, just a minute.
Just a second. Yeah.
Yeah.
She may know what she's talking about.
Right? So she will talk with authority, and she has it because she's been in it for a long time. How did it all begin for you? Like, what was it that lit the spark?
So when I was in high school, I had the like college career counselor come and like they did interviews with all of the students. And at the time, my college/career counselor was like looking at my grades, looking at where I was achieving, the most, and it was math and science. And so she was like, well, you could get into engineering, you could do accounting. And the thought of working a corporate job and having to wear pantyhose was like a death sentence to me. Like, I don't want to wear a suit and pantyhose. So what other options do I have? And she's like, well, you are really involved in the arts. Like, have you ever thought about cosmetology? And I'm like, at the time, I'm 17 years old. I'm like, no, I think that's where dropouts go. Dropouts go to cosmetology school. They don't go to like create a career. And she
That's
said,
exactly what I thought.
right? She was like, I really am going to strongly encourage you to go to a cosmetology school, take a tour, and just see what it's about. You're really strong at math and science. You do like the arts. I just think it would be a good melt of all of the things together. So I took her advice and I went to a cosmetology school. And, like everybody has their little mannequin heads out. And I'm like, oh my God, like really? This is where this broad sent me. Like, I am way smarter than this. And so I'm talking to one of the instructors and I'm asking her about the curriculum. And she brings out the My Lady, like 4-inch thick textbook. And so I like start flipping through the textbook and I'm like, like anatomy and bacteriology and chemistry. And I'm like, oh, I'm like kind of liking these subjects. And so she was like, why don't you take that book home for the weekend and just look through it and see if this is something that you would be interested in. And so I took the book home over the weekend and I'm, looking through everything and I'm like, this is really cool. Like the amount of deep dive information that you can get out of a cosmetology book is pretty incredible. So that's kind of how it all started.
That's awesome. I wish I
Yeah.
still had my cosmetology textbook.
How did you get rid of that? Why would you ever
didn't get rid of it. So what had happened was I was living with one of my like what do you call those? Friends that you went to school with? Peers. Yeah, I was living with one of my peers and she was studying for the exam and she had lost hers. So I let her borrow mine because I'm such a great note taker. I take notes on everything.
Oh.
And it was all in my textbook. And so I was like, here, I've already passed the test. These are really good notes. They helped me. And then she took the book and she got into a car accident. And the book was in her car. And here's the thing, I went and picked her up and helped her clean out her car. And she was like, oh, everything else in the car, it can just stay there. Like it was literally done for. They were about to like crush it. I didn't even think, oh, your cosmetology's textbook is in there because I just graduated cosmetology school and I wasn't being nostalgic. But now I really wish that I had all of it with all my notes and highlighted.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
I was like,
so
oh,
I didn't discard of it.
That's so sad. Wow. Well, I'm sorry, Hunter.
Hey,
but
it's okay.
Yeah, that sucks.
Okay. It's really okay. It's not that big of a deal.
But
I
mean,
wish I still had it.
I don't have mine either. I mean, no.
Hannah's like, wait, am I the only nostalgic one?
I don't
have my book either.
I haven't looked at it. You don't feel bad because I really haven't looked at it since school. So,
right.
Yeah. So it's okay.
I'm sure my mom has one from like the 80s.
That would be interesting.
That was probably the one that I had.
The green milady and the red milady.
I don't remember.
I remember them.
Slept.
That's true.
We had a pivot point in our school.
You had pivot point? I did too.
Okay.
My mom actually taught cosmetology. Oh. And so she taught with the milady curriculum. And then I took cosmetology with pivot point.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So what did you do right out of high school? Did you automatically go into booth renting or were you like
No.
Well, that's what they tell the kids nowadays. They tell them to build up a clientele in school and immediately go rent a booth.
That's amazing. Like, kudos. That is not the path I went. It's funny because when I was in cosmetology school, I remember we had a presenter come in and they were telling us like, oh, you're going to make 6 figures a year and blah, blah, blah. And like hyped us all up. And I'm like, oh my God, I made the right choice. And then my very first job out of cosmetology school was assisting.
Yup.
And I assisted. I think that was the foundation of why I am where I am today, is that I assisted for like 6 to 8 months before I started getting commission, before I started taking clients. And I think that having such a strong foundation and grounding of not only the practice of doing hairdressing, but also the business of doing hairdressing, that set me up for success.
And the business part of hairdressing is a lot, like people don't realize how business forward being a hairdresser is, especially if you're being independent.
For sure. I mean, I think that the business aspect, it's kind of like being an artist. You can be an incredible artist, but if you don't have a business backing, your art's not really going to sell. Like, you have to have an understanding of business in order to thrive, in order to make your art, marketable. So I think that they do go hand in hand. And I don't know if a lot of people, if that really gets pushed, like the business side of it.
And you do such a great job of marketing yourself and making it not sound pushy when you're actually selling something.
Yeah, I mean, I think that first and foremost, your authenticity speaks volumes. So if you're a salesperson, people are going to know that you're a salesperson. If you authentically believe in what you have to offer, people pick up on that. And I think that most people, especially now, want that authenticity. They want that connection with somebody who's real. There's so much fake that it's like, it's nice every once in a while to meet somebody who's just going to be like unapologetically themselves.
And that is you to a T, let me tell you.
It gets me in trouble sometimes. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, the first thing that pops into my mind of Amber being authentically Amber is pulling that wig off of the rail.
No F's given. Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, I mean, like, we get one shot at this life. We just have to enjoy it and have fun and be silly sometimes. And like, it doesn't always have to be just so rigid. Sometimes you can be a dork, and I am totally a dork, so I own it.
And we love it. We love it.
Thanks.
I feel like I can be more dorky around you.
Oh,
like
I
feel
love
like
that.
Honestly, like I feel like whenever anyone is around you, I feel like we just open up and we're just so ourselves, because that's who you are, and you make other people feel comfortable being themselves around you.
Well, thank you. I strive to do that.
Yes.
So Amber, after doing assisting, walk us through kind of the path, your career path in the last 20 years. What, like, you've done it all. So we're excited to hear kind of that process and the steps that you took to grow.
For sure. Okay, so I've actually worked and been licensed in 3 different states. So I feel like I've always felt like I am a professional new kid. Like, I'm really great at the initial, like, whatever introduction. It's the like staying in one place for a long amount of time that throws me off. So I
What's your
assisted at a
sign?
salon. I'm a Scorpio.
Okay. I was like, that's very Sagittarius behavior.
But I'm a nice Scorpio.
Okay. I believe
we get a bad rap.
You do.
Yeah. We do. We are passionate though, and I think that also gets me into trouble sometimes, but
hey, it also got you where you are.
It did. So... And again, those circles back to that being unapologetically authentic. So it is what it is. Take it or leave it.
Right. Sorry for interrupting.
No, it's fine. So I started assisting in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I worked at a salon in downtown Tulsa for, I want to say, like 2.5 years. And talking about taxes, because this is all making sense, is I was working at a salon and I was assisting, and they were writing me a check every week. And I was young, I was barely 18. And they had never asked me for any documentation or like my driver's license. I never filled out a W-9 form or any of that stuff. And so I'm working there, and they're cutting me a check every week for my hourly pay assisting. And then I go to commission, and now they're cutting me a check every week for my commission. And it was like 2 years in, and I finally went to the owner and I'm like, am I supposed to get like a W-2 or something? Like, I haven't gotten a W-2 since I've worked here. And they were like, well, no, you have to do your own taxes. And this is the very first salon I ever worked at as a little baby hairdresser. And I'm like,
how am I
well,
supposed to know?
Also, like, wouldn't that make me like a 1099, like a contractor? I mean, that didn't make sense to me at all. So now I have the IRS at baby Amber, 18 and a half years old, breathing down my neck, like, why haven't you filed taxes? And I'm like, my employer never gave me a W-2. And long story short, we had to do like this whole investigation. I ended up having to quit. I loved this salon. I loved working there, but they weren't being legit. They were paying me under the table, and they weren't paying taxes on me. I was an employee of theirs, so they weren't paying employment taxes on me. So I ended up having to pay like thousands of dollars in back taxes plus penalties. But I learned a very valuable lesson that you always have to be kind of aware of what's going on and be on the up and up and ask lots of questions.
That's the key, I think, is asking a lot of questions. Because so for those of you who may be for people that may be in your shoes and starting a career in hair and going to a salon, what is your advice on 1099 versus W-2s and salons that try and pass off the commission vibe, but they're 1099 salons?
Right. So being a 1099 is completely different than being a commissioned employee of a salon. Typically, when you're a commissioned employee of a salon, you are basically paying your employer to, like, you're paying them a percentage. They're covering your taxes, your marketing, your products, your advertising, your lights, your bill. Like, they cover everything. And they give you a percentage of your service total. So the way that I like to look at it is that you're actually giving them a percentage of your service total so that they can cover all of that. Yeah. When you're a 1099, you are basically self-employed. You're contracted by that company. Therefore, you should be able to have keys. You should be able to have access to the salon.
To the booking system.
And then to the booking system, like, all of that would kind of fall into a 1099 situation where you're not actually working for them. You're working independently for yourself. You just happen to be working under them as a salon. So yeah, like, if you're a commissioned stylist and you go into a salon and they're not having you fill out federal income tax papers, you need to be asking questions. Because if you know going into it that you're a 1099, then you should be getting paid more in commission to cover those expenses. Like, it should all kind of even out to a 45 to 55% ratio.
Right. Whether that means that the salon takes 40% and you take 60, that means that, that 15% is going towards your taxes.
Correct.
And that also means that the salon should probably allow you to purchase your own color and or retail. Because otherwise you have no write-offs at the end of the year, but you're considered a business owner. So all of that money coming in looks as income, because it is. So there's no way the business is getting write-offs because they're buying your color and your product, but you don't have any write-offs. So at the end of the year, you have to pay that whole 20% back. A lot of stylists see that bigger paycheck every week or 2 weeks or however you get paid, and they think that that's the better option.
which really like you have to in all of the different, because I really have, aside from being a salon suite owner, I have done it all. You really need to know your numbers. And this kind of circles back to having a grounding in business and knowing how business works and knowing, just like what you said, how taxes work. I think that we're not really, at least I wasn't taught all of that in beauty school. We didn't go over business stuff or how to do your taxes or what's a write-off and what's not a write-off. I think that all of that is very valuable information that can help us be more successful. So it kind of stinks, but I learned the hard way. And so I ended up having to quit that job, and it was really sad. And it was what it was. I mean, I couldn't keep working for them. You know, the IRS wouldn't let me. And I just don't think it would have been ethical. So I actually left there and I did go rent a chair at a local barber shop. And I only worked there for a short period of time and it was fine. And the guy that owned the salon was great. I didn't feel like I had a salon connection. Like I didn't feel like we were a team. And that's what I loved about that first commission salon that I worked at, is the team aspect. Like that's so important to me. I know it's not important to everybody, but to me, I really need to like vibe off of other people. And so to go from this like traditional salon environment to this barber shop where everybody rents a chair and they kind of come and go and do what they want to do, it just wasn't really my thing. And so I actually left and decided that Oklahoma was not my jam. And I moved to Arizona. And so I
What
lived
the
in
heck?
Arizona. Yeah. Like talk about freaking culture shock.
Yeah.
So I went from Oklahoma to Arizona, and my first salon in Arizona was one of those commission salons, but they work off of like a tier structure. So like if you bring in, you know, $1,000 in a week, then you're at 45% commission. If you bring in $2,500 a week in service sales, you're at, you know, 55, like whatever. It was like a sliding scale based on your service totals. And so I started working there. It was an amazing salon, an amazing experience. They made me a manager within a year. So I actually opened up another location for them and I managed it and realized that I'm not a very good manager. This is true.
Interesting.
What like, can you expound on that? Because I also manage a salon and sometimes I feel like I'm not a very good manager.
I am not very good at confrontation. I despise it. I have a really, really hard time like getting on to people. That's just not my thing. I'm much more better suited to be a cheerleader than I am to be like, you were 5 minutes late and I'm going to have to write you up. Like that is just not, I don't feel comfortable with that. So I think for me, managing a salon was very difficult because it was hard for me to separate being their boss. Like that's just not, I don't know. Like I just don't look at myself as being superior to anybody and having to make people be accountable to me. Like I want people to want to be accountable for themselves. And sometimes people just aren't. And that's okay. But like, it's not okay when you're the manager and you need people to be accountable. So
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. And I do feel like I try and channel that cheerleader energy into realizing that it's probably actually, you would have stuck it out, would have realized that you probably actually were a really good manager. You just have to put yourself in those confrontations, and that's emotionally draining. And if that's not what you want to do, that's not what you want to do. But you probably would have made a really good manager if you would have stuck it out, but it's sometimes not worth the emotional drain.
So
it
what
was
did
just
you
really
do?
hard.
So how do
Mm-hmm.
you translate that into being a salon owner?
Oh, well, I mean, keep in mind that when I moved to Arizona, I was 21 years old and this was my first management position. And
We've
again,
grown
I'm like,
since then.
I'm in this position where I'm young and I'm naive and I don't know how to communicate really well with people. And even now, though, I mean, I get heart palpitations when I have to like ask other people to do things. It's very difficult for me to be like, I would really like it if you would put a dryer sheet in with the towels because I don't like static. And I don't know why that is so hard for me to like, because I don't want anyone to feel like I'm mad at them.
Right.
But like, I don't like static.
So I really would like it if the dryer sheets were in the dryer.
So like,
Well,
please, and thank you.
static will make your client's hair staticky, which is annoying. It's actually kind of a big deal.
I mean, it's like little thing, like it's like that though. Like I get very, oh my God, I have to have this conversation. And really it's not even a conversation. It's like, hey, do you mind, blah, blah, blah. And
just remember, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not that big of a deal, but I make it into way bigger of a deal then. But anyway, so I mean, yes, I have grown. I was 21 when I managed that salon in Arizona, and you know what? It didn't work out. It was what it was. It was a beautiful experience, and I'm super grateful that they even gave me that opportunity, because again, I took the lessons that I learned from that and I held on to them and I put them in my pouch and I just kept going to the next thing. And so the next salon that I went to work at was your basic traditional commission salon. Everyone in there was commission. It was an amazing salon. I worked there for almost 9 years, actually. Like I probably would have worked there until I died if I wouldn't have moved to Illinois.
Where was that? Was that still in Arizona?
Yep, that one was still in Arizona. It was in a suburb of Phoenix, so like kind of by Tempe. And I loved that salon. It was a very tight-knit, like family-oriented salon. I got married and I had my 2 kiddos while I worked at that salon, and it was like that salon will always hold a piece of my heart because I grew so much as a human working there.
Right.
But I also learned that I like to stay in things well beyond their expiration date because it's comfortable.
That
And
translated to later on in life, right?
yeah, and change is really scary. And sometimes, actually my cousin sent me a video link to Steve Harvey, and I suggest everyone watch the video. But it's Steve Harvey after one of his game show hosting gigs that he does, and it was all about jumping. Like just jump, the parachute will open. Like you have to take a chance and jump. And that video, I still like, whenever I'm feeling doubtful of the decisions that I make, I watch that video and I'm like, you know what? Like I might fall and I might scrape my knees and I might get bloody, but like I'll get back up and eventually the parachute's going to open and I'm going to take off. And that's sort of what happened, is that I just decided to believe that it would work, and it did.
Oh,
I mean, there's a lot more to it than just believing that it's going to happen and it's going to happen. I mean, I put a lot of
There's a lot
effort.
of work behind it.
There's a lot of work behind it. And I think that, especially in today's society with social media, where we all can make things look really easy because we only show the easy parts. Like we
Right.
don't show the parts where we're up at 3:00 in the morning and we're throwing up and we're, like crunching numbers or, calling our grandparents to see if we can borrow money. Like we don't show that part of how hard it is sometimes to just survive on this planet. But if you believe, you can make it happen.
well, that's thank you for sharing that. And we'll have to get that video so we can do a link to the video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the transition? Tell us about the transition from Arizona to Chicago and your new jump. What were you jumping into?
So yeah, I'm just all about taking leaps of faith. I ended up getting a divorce from my kid's dad, and I was a single parent in Arizona with 2 kiddos. Lando, I think at the time was like 2 and Lily was maybe 5. And I didn't really have any parental help. I didn't have like a very large friend circle. I mean, I had my supporters that had my back and got me through those couple of years. But when I was going through the divorce, I was really leaning on my best friend, and he and I had been friends. We actually knew each other before I had met my ex-husband, and he was my best friend. And so I was leaning on him a lot, and he lived in Chicago. And I'm like, you know what? You should be my boyfriend. And he said, I don't think so. And I'm like, come on. I don't have to go through the whole like, oh, by the way, I've got 2 small kids. How do you feel about being a baby daddy? He was just like, he's always been a part of my life, and he's always been a part of the kids' life. And I'm like, this would be perfect. Also, I like Chicago. Like, you live far away, you know my kids, I don't have to go through the whole thing, like, we can make this work. And he was like, absolutely not. I am not going to date you. And so when I get an idea in my head that I am going to get something, I get it. Like, one way or another, I figure out a way and I get it. And so I showered this boy with all my love. I sent him care packages. I called him all the time. I am a like stage 5 clinger. Like,
I'm
I
obsessed
love
with
you. And that is that. And so
Stage
after
5 clinger.
100%. And I mean, stage 5 clinger from 1,800 miles away. Like,
What's funny
do the
is
best you
all
can.
3 of us right now are the same. We're all the same when it comes to that.
Like, if I love you, you're gonna know I love you. Period.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
out there, honey. It is
Yep, so
out there. Everybody
Yep, so
knows. I am manifesting everywhere I go.
100%. Yep. Sprinkle that all over the place. So it took about 9 months of convincing that I would be an epic girlfriend of epic proportions. And he finally gave in and was like, I guess we can try this. And I was like, phew, like, freaking about time. I don't know what I was going to do. I was going to have to keep sending care packages, and like, I don't even know. I didn't even know what I was going to have to do, but it's going to have to
But I
amp
was
it
going to
up or
keep doing
something.
it.
I was going to keep doing it. So I actually brought the kids out here for Christmas in 2009. And
That's a
the
good
kids,
time to go to Chicago.
the kids fell in love with it. Like, he's my husband now, by the way. My Chicago boyfriend turned into my husband. His mom made reindeer food that you sprinkle in the snow that was like oats and glitter, so that Santa knew where to go, and like all the
Oh
things.
my
And it was
God.
very like sentimental and romantic, and it was magic. And so it was 6 months after that, and I asked the kids, like, what would you guys think about moving to Chicago? And they were both like, heck to the yes.
Wow.
Heck yeah.
And so I took that leap of faith, and I was like, I don't know if this is going to work, but like, hopefully he knows that I'm not going to move my kids 1,800 miles away for a boyfriend. Like, I need to know that this is something.
This is forever.
And
if I'm moving, sorry about it. You're stuck.
Stuck with me. I am like gum on a shoe. If that's not a phrase, it should be.
It is now. Coin
Okay.
it. Trademark.
So I moved out here to just outside of Chicago, and it's so funny because throughout my whole career, the things that I thought that I really wanted, I ended up getting, and then I realized that they weren't really what I wanted. So case in point, when I moved from Oklahoma to Arizona, my goal in life was to work at Tony and Guy. Like, I wanted to work at a Tony and Guy salon. That was like my vibe. That was my thing. I liked walking past and seeing everybody in all white and all black, and like, I loved that. Do you know that to this day I have never worked in a large salon? Like, I've never worked in a salon that was like a Tony and Guy, ever. I've always
Really?
worked in a salon with like four or five other people. I think 8 tops.
Wasn't I thought the last salon you worked in was pretty big.
No, we had eight stylist chairs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Did it have multiple locations?
we had 2 locations, but
Okay.
they were pretty like separated. But yeah, so I've never actually worked in like a big departmentalized salon before, even though I was certain that that is where I was meant to be. And then I went and I got the job, and then I started to think to myself, I can't wear all white. Like, what if I get my period? I cannot drive 45 minutes home and change clothes and come back to work and wear all white again. Like, that doesn't make sense.
You shouldn't wear
Have
black.
to wear, huh?
You couldn't wear black.
No, at this particular location, it was you had to wear all white.
Oh my gosh! What if you
Wow.
That
sweat?
wasn't going to work for me. That wasn't going to
No,
work
I
for
couldn't
me.
do that. Mm-mm.
All white.
It's
No.
the fashion for me.
Well, so here's the deal. So this was my first dip into a departmentalized salon. So what that means is like you go in and you either do color only or you do cutting only. And
What
so
were you
when
gonna
I went
be?
in, a cutter. Well, not
All
like a
right.
cutter, but
Yeah.
yeah, a cutting stylist.
Yeah.
And I cut this like perfect bob, and they gave me a job like on the spot. They're like, yes, we want you. And I said, well, what if I want to do color? And they're like, well, you can't. And I said, well, what if I want to do cutting for like 6 months and then I decide I want to do color? And they're like, then you would have to try out for the color team and you would have to go through that whole 6 to 9 month training process. And I'm like, so there's no way I can do both. And they said no. And I'm like, and you want me to wear all white? And they said, yeah. And I go, I'm out.
Yeah. I don't want to be into one box forever.
It just wasn't me. I mean, I think that it's
Mhm.
amazing. Like people who specialize in cutting and coloring, like
Right.
that's incredible. That wasn't me. Like I need variety. I think I must have ADD or something. I can't do the same thing all the time. I get bored. And so
Mm-hmm.
that it didn't work for me. So I did not take that job. That's when I actually took the management job at the other salon.
Okay.
And then I worked at the salon that I love, that I raised my babies in. And then we moved to Illinois. And again, I'm looking at all of the salons in the area, and I find the salon that is like the coolest, most hip salon in all of the land. And I am like, I will work there. That will be my place. And what was really interesting about it is that it was a commission salon. However, you could buy into the company. So basically, like you could buy shares into the company, and eventually over time, if you worked there long enough, you would have acquired enough shares that you would have ownership of the salon.
Whoa, that's wild.
Right? Like I've never
Interesting.
heard of that before. And I'm quite frankly, I don't really know how that works. Long story short, they're no longer in business. I don't know what
Oh.
happened. I think it was a really cool, innovative idea. And I
That's
think
a
if
really
done
awesome idea.
properly,
Yeah.
yeah, I think if done properly, I think it could be something. But at the time, yeah, that was not my place
So-
either.
Okay, well, I want to hear more, but I do have a question about that process. But I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm just putting that question in my mind, and I'm going to ask later.
Put it in the
No,
cloud.
go ahead. Go ahead, because I quit that job. I was there for like literally 30 days, and I said, this is not like they did the what is that called? You know, the salons, like I know Redken does it, like a Summit salon.
Summit, yeah.
So I think that I don't know if it was Summit that they were, but it was like something like that, where you had all these sheets that you had to fill out every day of like
Everything's
how
a
much retail
number.
everything's a number. And again, I think that that's awesome. Like you should know your service to retail ratio. Like you should know
Right.
the
But
percentage that you're selling.
I feel like a lot of times all of the time, Summit is focused on guest count as a way to grow your business when that's not the most important thing. So if it's done properly, numbers are great, but you're focusing on the wrong thing. Thinking
Well, I mean,
like
not
the more people
necessarily.
in your chair.
Yes and no. I feel like there are some hairstylists that like thrive off of that kind of structure, and
Yeah.
like knowing that they need to like hit a certain amount. Like there are hairstylists and that's what works for them, and I think that that's amazing. I think that I came from a more fluid background where I knew my numbers, but that wasn't as important to me. Like my numbers weren't as important to me as my connections with my guest.
Right. They go hand in hand.
So it was kind of like where I wanted to focus my energy was not necessarily on my numbers, on how many guests I could get in the door or how many extra services I could sell to a guest or how many extra products I could sell. Like that all kind of comes back to me being unapologetically authentic, is that that's not me. Like I can't talk someone into getting a treatment for their hair that I don't feel like they need. I can't
Right.
talk someone into buying a retail product just because I need to make the sale. Like
Right. If
it
they don't
got
need it, they shouldn't have to buy it.
well, it got to the point where it was kind of icky and it was like, you aren't meeting your numbers. And I would have to like tell my guests, like, can I do a blowout on you because I'm not hitting my numbers? And like,
Well,
I don't know what,
you said,
like I'm getting in trouble. And of course my guests were like, well, hell yeah, you can do a blowout on me. And I'm like, okay, but that's just not how I want to do my business.
no.
Right.
So, you said that was short-lived, that salon. I'm gonna ask the question later. But what was the next salon that you then went to?
So that was my first salon in Illinois. I worked there for 30 days. And then I actually found a salon, a brand new, this was a really cool concept too. I've worked at a lot of really cool concept places that like, they just were missing like one more ingredient and it would have been incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But I worked at a salon that in a weird way was departmentalized, but it was like they had a hair room and then they had a massage room and then they had a nail room and they had an aesthetics room and they had a spray tan room, and it was like this beautiful building, beautifully decorated, all of the finest finest products, and each room catered to a specific beauty industry service or need. So I
That's cool.
worked there, actually. It was really cool. So I worked there for a little over a year. And then and I mean we were killing it. Like I had a write-up done about me in the Lake County like newspaper about, like bringing my mastery skills to the suburbs and blah blah blah.
That's
And
right.
and then the owner was like, so I'm gonna actually have to lower your commission.
What?
You got me so fucked up.
I'm like, wait, what? Lower? No. Like I've worked here for you for a year. Like we're talking a raise, right? And she said, no, I need to lower your commission or you're going to have to start paying a product charge. And I'm like,
You were
that
making too
sounds
much
like a
money.
you problem. Yeah, that sounds like a you problem. That doesn't sound
Uh-huh.
like a me problem. That sounds like you didn't figure out your business structure, because this hair is what's making you the most amount of money, and now you want to penalize me for making you money because now you want to make more money.
Greedy.
Mm-hmm.
And so that like that one was kind of hit hard. I'm like,
It's like a slap in the
I don't
face.
kind of like, I've worked really, really hard for you. I've helped you build this business. We're thriving. We're doing amazing. And now you want to basically demote me.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how you reward
I bet
a
they were
hard
real
worker.
butthurt when you left, huh?
Well, so she actually started, the owner of that salon started when my clients would call to book appointments with me, she would tell them that I was booked, and she booked them with a junior stylist that was making lower commission. When I left there, she would not let me take my color formula book. You know, like I had everything written,
Right.
and she said that they were her property. And I'm like, my formulas aren't your property. And she's like, you have my client information. I'm like, I have client names. I have no other information. I don't have phone numbers. I don't have addresses. I'm not taking your clients. I'm taking my formulations. And she threw a huge fit. And I was like, fine, good luck. Because your junior stylist can have my clients that I've built over the last year. They can have my color formula, but you know what? They will never be me.
Period.
So good luck. Guess what? She closed 6 months later. Karma, man.
Greed. It's
Also,
the
I've
root of
worked in
all
some really
evil. I think
wacky.
that's not the saying, but still.
Yeah. So I worked there, and that was, yeah. And then I found a really great salon that, again, was sort of like that salon in Arizona where I raised my babies. They were very family focused. It was commission salon, but they gave a week paid vacation. They gave, like, you could get other services done for free. I mean, it was a really amazing salon, and the owner there was incredible, and she is doing everything the right way. She has structure in place. She is a very smart business person, and she's compassionate. And I think, but number one, like, she draws in people who are like family focused. So she just celebrated 25 years in business because she knows what's up.
Exactly.
So leaving there was really, really hard. But again, it was a commission salon, and I worked there for 5 years, and I realized that I had stopped growing. And there was no way that I could, like, I had peaked. There was nowhere to go. I was already getting 50% commission, and I was the highest tier on retail sales. Like, the only way that I could grow is by raising my prices, but the raise in price wasn't justified in my mind. To, like, I needed more control of my own life.
Right.
And that was really hard to say goodbye to them, because it was nothing personal. Like, that was probably one of the only salons where I'm like, this is not a personal thing, this is a business thing. And I have to, if I'm going to do this, I have to try and do this. And so that's when I stepped out and I rented a chair at another salon in town. And that was really scary, because I had this, like, supportive, amazing salon that, you know, I grew in, and it was hard to say goodbye. And it was scary to, like, take that leap of, like, what if nobody follows me?
Again, trusting the parachute.
Like, what do you do? And I would spend, like, nights, like, 3-4 o'clock in the morning, I would wake up and I would get my notebook and I would just, like, crunch numbers, and I would be like, okay, this is what my monthly bills are. This is what I have to make in order to survive. You know, this is my bottom line. How am I going to do that? How many clients do I need to follow me? Who do I think would follow me?
Right.
You know, I was ethical with her. I didn't give anybody my information.
Yeah.
And 98% of my clients followed me.
Hell yeah.
They found me on LinkedIn. They found me on Facebook. They found me on Google. Like, I made sure to put myself out there to make it as easy as I possibly could for people to find me. And they did. And, you know, we live in a small community, and a lot of my clients are like little groupings of of guests. And so it's like one person finds out where I went, and then they would tell their friends, and maybe one of their friends was a friend of this other circle of friends. And so, it was really interesting, because when I went to the salon I worked at before where I am now, they were strictly a commission salon, and they were just opening. And I walked in and I said, this is a beautiful salon and I have to work here, but I want to rent a chair. And she said, well, we're a commission salon. And I said, well, I understand that, but
I want to work here.
But I see that you're carrying Kuhn, and I'll have you know that I've worked with Kuhn for the last 6 years, and I could be an asset to your team. And I want to work here, but I want to rent a chair. And she said, oh, let me talk to my partner. And I said, okie dokie. And then she called me later and she was like, yeah, we will go ahead and you'll be our only renter in a salon of commission stylists. And I'm like, perfect. I get a team, I get that salon, environment that I thrive in. And you carry my favorite color line, and I can totally be an asset, and perfect. And so they came back with numbers, and they're like, we're going to give you 2 options. You can pay this really high amount of rent, but everything will be included. All of your back bar, all of your retail, your color, the towels, the laundry, the assistant, the receptionist, the booking software. Or you can pay this lower amount and you have to cover everything yourself. And I'm like, I'm going to take that other deal, the one that's like you pay a little bit more, but you get everything included, because that makes me feel a little bit more comfortable that I have like a set number that I have to come up with every month.
You don't have to worry about how much product you use for the week, and that's nice.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah, there was no fluctuation. So I didn't have to worry about I just had to worry about coming up with that round number.
Right. It's your dream come true. Crunching all your numbers.
I don't think that this is I've worked in some really innovative salons. I don't think that's really a thing.
Right.
Yeah, that actually sounds like best of both worlds.
Yeah, and it was great. And and so they tell me this number, and I run my numbers of my own, just what they tell you, right? For every mile that you move, you're going to lose 20% of your clients, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm crunching all the numbers. And I'm like, okay, I need 50% of my clients to follow me for me to be able to pay my bills and pay my rent. I need 50% at this number. And so I wrote back and I was like, I think this is amazing and it's a very generous offer. I don't know if I financially can afford that right now. Would you be willing to do a slightly lower number for 60 days or 90 days, just until I can see that I'm getting clientele in? Let me build a little, and then I'll gladly go up to the initial price that you quoted me at. And she's like, yeah, sure. Within 1 month, I was like, oh my God, I have never made so much freaking money in my whole life. Why didn't I do this sooner? Holy
That's
cow.
So exciting.
So within that first month, I had, all of my books filled for that month and then into the next month. And I was like, I will pay what you initially asked. So really just that first month was the only month that I paid a lesser fee. And then I gladly paid. And then I also knew, I kind of felt like going from where I was to where I was, I'm like, I never wanted them to feel taken advantage of. So if there was anything that I could provide for myself to take the burden off of my expenses on them, I did. So I bought all my own processing caps. I bought all my own vivid colors. I bought all my own, any extra thing that I needed to perform my service. I would buy that myself.
Right.
And in doing so, in being able to be given the opportunity to rent, it opened up flexibility in my schedule. and they actually helped me with their KLC points go to Atlanta, to the Kuhn Academy in Atlanta, and get my color certification, which is where I met Hunter. And Hunter is the reason why I'm an educator today.
Aw. Yeah.
And
I
I owe
mean,
you
I
that.
thought that she was an educator. I remember when we were going to the class, Sam and I had talked to Jamie Kaufman, and we were like, she told us that there was one other educator that's going to be there. And we were looking around the room the first day, trying to like suss out the the other educator. And both of us were like, it's for sure her. And it was Amber, because let me paint a picture. Amber had the most glorious hair in the room, honestly, like painted to perfection, the beautiful beach waves. Makeup was like, Amber is like beautiful as it is, but she just accentuated every single part that should have been accentuated. She looked pristine at this academy, and she knew all the answers to all the questions. And so we were like, it's for sure her. So we went up to her and we were like, so you're the other educator, right? And she goes, no. And I was like, well, you should be. Here's how you apply. And then I said, hey, she needs to be an educator. And guess what? She is. And she made Premier Beauty Supplies Educator of the Month this month.
So awesome. I wanted to focus a lot on you building your clientele and also what it's like to be a salon owner. I also wanted to talk about what it looked like to start from the bottom, like opening your new salon, and then also from a new stylist perspective, what it's like to approach a salon. Like do you your email, like that whole process of like approaching a salon
Of
that you want to work.
how I got into each salon that I got into.
Yeah. Yeah. And then also what it looks like technically to build up a clientele in a new place where you don't have connections.
So basically, I worked at that salon that I booth rented for 5 years, and it was amazing. And it gave me all of the tools I needed. You know, I had been collecting over all of the years that I put in my little pouch, and I finally felt like I was ready to have my own space. And I found a place, and I applied for an SBA loan, and that was really scary, but they approved me, which I thought was also really scary. And then I got approved for salon equipment, and I'm like, oh my God, this is really happening. But I made sure that the route that I took was still within my budget.
Right.
So I could still solely afford on my own income the overhead of this new space.
Right.
So in August of last year, I opened my own salon called Indigo and Ash.
Ooh.
And yes, and I decided that it would be a transitional salon. I loved the concept of the salon that I had worked at previously, allowing me the opportunity to pay a flat fee and have everything included. I felt like that was such a great experience for somebody who was new to renting. And I wanted to be able to mentor people and allow them the opportunities to create their own businesses. So, although we have Indigo and Ash, it's a salon collective of individual hairstylists that have their own business. So we all three of us that work in the salon run our own businesses under Indigo and Ash.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you're all,
congratulations.
yeah. So you've had a lot of experiences in a lot of different salons in a lot of different towns. You said you coined yourself the professional new kid. What is it like to build a clientele as a new kid, especially when you're starting from ground zero?
I would say, I mean, it can be scary because you can be sitting at your salon chair for days without, maybe one or two clients, and you're kind of getting the table scraps of the overflow of guests that other people who are more established can't take on. But I think building a relationship with the other stylists in the salon, and instead of just sitting there, make yourself an asset to them and make yourself known to their clients, so that if there's a situation where maybe so and so can't get in with the regular client or with the regular stylist, they feel comfortable coming to you because you're a familiar face in the salon.
Right.
And and when you kind of set yourself up for that, maybe that client just comes to you that one time because they couldn't get in with a regular, but then they send you their sister because
Yeah.
they know that you're building, and then that sister sends you someone. And I think that you should always want to, like, if you're going to be in a situation where you're in a salon and you're not just jumping right into booth rent, but you're in a salon and you want to build a clientele, make yourself an asset to the salon.
Yes. Because
And
then the salon will feed into you.
absolutely.
You feed the salon feeds you.
Yeah. Be that person to, like, oh, you ran out of lightener, let me go mix you some more. Oh, you need a gloss, let me go get that for you. Oh, you need your hair swept, I'll sweep that for you.
Absolutely.
Like, don't ever think that you're above, like, helping out your teammate. So that would be step number one. I think number two would be really getting into your community. Like, I have got clients from the grocery store, like, that work at the grocery store. I have clients from the coffee shop. I have clients from the local boutique, because I go in there and I support them and they support me. And so, like, even my grocery store guys that come to me, they send me people.
Yeah.
So don't think like it's silly to strike up a conversation with a guy in the wine aisle and be like, hey, I really like your haircut, where are you going? And then, oh, well, if they're not available one day, like, I'd love to do your hair for you. Did you know that I offer a $20 off your first service?
Hit them with the $20 off. They love it.
And then they're like, oh, okay, well, like, I could come to you that one time and get a deal. But then, like, once they come to you,
you offer that experience.
Right. They keep coming back.
It's over.
Yep.
I know whenever we go out and I have a little bit of alcohol in my system, because, liquid courage and all, I just tend to, like, walk off. I wander off from the group and I go and market myself. And I took to a couple years ago, I would grab people's phone, or, like, if I was talking to them, not like, let me just have your phone. I was like, hey, yeah, let me put my number in your phone and we'll stay connected. After I was talking about the fact that I did hair, and I put my name in their phone as hairdresser. I didn't put my name. I put hairdresser. So whenever they, like, swipe down to search and typed in hairdresser, they'd be like, wait, who's this hairdresser's phone number I have? And then they would call me.
So smart.
That's funny. Sneaky hunter.
Girl, I will do anything and everything to get you in my chair. I love people. But I'm sorry. Go on, Amber. Getting involved in your community is, like, your step number two.
Yep. Getting involved in your community. I mean, being authentically involved. Like, I don't just, like, go into the coffee shop and say, hey, can I leave some cards here? Like, I go to the coffee shop regularly and get coffee regularly and build a relationship with people. And then I say, oh, hey, I opened a salon across the street. Like, I would love to have you come over and hang out sometime. Like, you don't have to get your hair cut, but just come kick it. And
yeah, we got couches, coffee.
I think that people just genuinely want to feel a connection. And if you're being true, then it's like, you can come to me or not come to me. Like, it's not going to hurt my feelings, but I think you're cool. We should hang out. Come hang out at my salon.
Mm-hmm. Because I am
So,
there all the time. So if you if you want to be my friend, you got to come there.
so I know that all sounds like, okay, like really basic, like, okay, help out at the salon. All right. Okay, make friends with the barista. Okay. But really, it is when you are forming those relationships with people, they're more inclined to give you new guests that are going to be loyal to you and not just like randos that walk in off the street. Like, I've never had a good experience with a random that walked in off the street.
Mm-mm.
My whole business has been built on forming a connection with people. And then they're like, oh, Amber's cool. You should go hang out with her. And then they
Yeah.
send their kids, or they send their husband, or they send their partner, or whatever. And, I think just being
I think we lost her.
Uh-oh. Did her phone die?
I just see her beautiful face floating in a screen, but it's not moving.
Oh no, what
Oh
happened?
no. Amber.
wait, am
Oh,
I
she's
back?
back. She's back.
She's back. We should
Sorry,
have a
guys.
moment of silence to cut that out.
And go.
So I just think being authentic, I keep saying authentic, but it really truly is like making a true connection with people brings you more people who are like you.
And
Mhm.
I think a lot of times we make it way too hard on ourselves. And it really is that simple as just to be yourself and attract what you are. And that's going to be your ideal clientele.
Mhm.
I think
And it's
that,
okay to not be, and it's okay to not be busy. Like, it's okay.
yeah.
Find
But if you're
ways to
not
be.
busy, find ways to be busy.
Yeah.
Because I've gotten clients from like this, not in my current salon, but a salon that I worked in before, from the owner, because she saw me like walking around getting people's towels, pulling their color bowls if they were done, or handing them foils. They were like, that boy knows how to work. And I want to go see him. Whenever you're not doing hair anymore, I want to go see him. And guess what? She stopped doing hair. And she came to see me. So everything you said, I was like, wow, she really speaking truth right now. I'm
I mean,
like,
it really is simple. It's a simple way to show people who you are, because even though you may think that nobody's watching, they're always watching.
everyone's
So,
always watching.
I mean, they really are. So, like, I am definitely not too good to clean toilets and take out trash. Like, yes, it is my salon. I first and foremost will do the dirty work. Like,
Mhm.
I have no problem with that. I feel like you got to clean toilets to get to the top. Like, that's just the
Yeah.
way it is.
You got to clean toilets in order to not clean toilets one day. You got to do the work that no one's willing to do.
Well, and
Live the life
also
that everybody
realize that
wants.
you can always clean toilets, even if you're at the top.
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's never below anyone to do that. So as I listen to Amber, I hear like this really amazing cycle of like, you see what your needs are and you advocate for those needs and you push forward to make it happen. And it seems like you've done that throughout your career in a really graceful way. And I would say, I was just getting back to what Hunter asked about if you're new walking into a salon and building up a clientele from ground zero. What is that like to advocate for your needs in a graceful way? Like when you see a salon that you want to work at, how do you approach them and be like, I want to be in your salon and I want to have a booth rental? How is that? Give us some tips on how you've done that.
How you've gotten the courage to just go in there and say, hey, I'm going to work here.
Okay, so remember that very first salon I worked at in Tulsa when I assisted? And
Mm-hmm.
I was so scared. I was so scared. And the owner was like, you just have to know how to part hair. You just have to know how to hold the hair. If you know how to hold the hair, you can fake it till you make it. But if they think that you know what you're doing, no one's going to question you. So I have lived with that advice my entire life. Like, nobody knows except for me what I'm capable of or not capable of, or what I know and what I don't know. I'm the
Right.
only one. So I genuinely have faked it like the majority of my life. But from that being said, it's interesting because when I became an educator, one of the tidbits that I heard from someone was like, check out that salon's Instagram or check out their social media, see what they're about, and then you can kind of get a vibe off of like who they are and sort of tailor yourself into that salon. So I think if you're a new stylist and you're looking for a salon to work at, I would start there. Like, check out social media, see which salon you feel like you would be an asset to. And then from there, I would reach out either by email or I, as a salon owner now, cannot stand people walking in and asking me stuff because I am with clients and I feel like that's disruptive to the person who's sitting in my chair. I would much rather you email me or send me a message on Instagram and say, hey, your salon is super cool. I like your vibe. I would love to work with you. The salon that I worked at before opening my salon, I just emailed them and I was like, hey, I was walking downtown and I saw your salon and it is amazing. And I would love to set up time just to come talk to you. And so they were like, cool, we're doing interviews, come in, we'll talk. And then that's when I sort of was like, this is amazing. Let me see the place. And it was like, oh, you carry this line. Oh, you carry that color. Oh, you do that. Well, let me just tell you, I have been working with these products for X amount of years and I can be an asset to you. So even if you're a brand new stylist, you can still be an asset. You still have so much to offer. It's just knowing where, like, get in where you fit in. So find a salon that like fits your vibe and and don't be afraid to ask for what you need. Like, I feel like I was really good at doing balayage in school, but I'm not so good at doing gray coverage. And it looks like your clientele does a lot of balayage, but I see that you have a couple of stylists that tend to do a more mature clientele. Is there any way that I can learn from them too? And I feel like as a salon owner, somebody coming into me and saying, I want to work for you and I don't know it all. Can you help me? You're hired.
We're on the
Yeah.
spot.
Someone who has
Like,
an attitude of wanting to grow and help you.
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Like, oh, so you don't think you know it all? Heck yes. You can come here. I will show you everything that I know how to do. We
Yeah,
can learn from each other.
absolutely. And that's the thing too, is like always being that seventh grader, learning from the eighth grader and teaching the sixth grader. Always be the
Always,
seventh grader.
always be
Mhm.
the seventh grader. That
Yeah.
is so profound, Hunter. Always be the seventh grader.
Yeah,
Yes.
girl. You got to learn from the ones above you and teach the ones below you. Not that anyone's below anyone. That was that was bad. Teach the younger ones.
Yeah. Teach the babies that are coming up that are like, they may have, I mean, I can tell you right now, the stuff that these kids are learning in school, like, far surpasses their techniques are hands down probably better than mine. And I learn a lot from the younger generation of hairstylists
Well,
because,
and did you know that in hair school now, well, at least at the Paul Mitchell schools here, they teach social media.
see,
That's awesome.
like, what? I had to figure that stuff out on my own. I'm like an old person.
Yeah, like 2 years in, I had to figure it out. So, okay, you talked about how to like gain the confidence to go into the salon, but once you find the salon as a new stylist, we've talked a lot about numbers, but like what numbers do you recommend focusing on when you're growing your clientele?
I mean, so to be honest, a salon is not making money off of you. If you're going into a commission salon, they're really not making money off of you. They're making whatever commission
They're paying the
taking from
bills
you
with you.
is covering their overhead. So get it out of your head that you deserve anything more than 50% commission. I think that
Absolutely.
50% really is the max. I've never expected any commission salon owner to pay me more than that. If I feel like I need a raise, I raise my prices. Or I find new services to add to my service menu. Maybe just doing color and cuts wasn't enough. Now I have taken it upon myself to learn hair extensions, and I've added that to my service list, or Brazilian blowout. Like whatever it is, there's always ways for you to make more money and still offer, and still be ethical about it.
Right. You don't have to just sell, or even price yourself out of a market.
Right.
I think that's
knowing that.
Yeah. Knowing your market too.
For sure. Yeah. So I think like that is a very great step. Is like, I actually had somebody come to me recently, and they're in a commission salon, and they were thinking about going to like a salon suite. And I said, well, first you need to run your numbers. And I said, are you unhappy? Are you unhappy at your salon? And they said, no. And I go, then why do you want to leave? And they said, because I'm not making as much money as I want. And I said, what services are you offering? And they said, cutting. And I said, well, if you added color to your service menu, that would triple your income.
Yeah. Period.
So why are you leaving? So I think
you're
it's
happy.
really, right? So I really think it's like taking a step back and like, what is important to you, and go with what's important to you. So if making money is what's important to you, then learn how to hustle. Then maybe you're the perfect person to like sell a butt ton of retail and upsell your clients for masks and conditioning treatments and blowouts and whatever. So find out what moves you. Like you're either money driven or you're happiness driven. Like I'm 100% happiness driven. As long as I can pay my bills and I'm not living in a box, I'm good.
Yeah.
So as long as I'm happy, I'm good.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I do like money though.
That's me. There ain't been a day I've ever been mad at my money.
So I think all the baby stylists should just, like, you all are incredible. You are incredibly gifted, incredibly talented. You guys have the world at your fingertips. You just have to believe in yourselves and know that like you will find your place. But you have to work hard for it.
Yes. And the only place that success comes before work is in the dictionary.
True.
I love that.
Thanks. Pinterest gave it to me.
Do you have it like on a little like plaque, and is it hanging with cute font in your house?
Oh no, I'm not a live, laugh, love gal. We don't hang quotes in this house, honey. There may be Mickey ears on my wall, but there are no quotes. No, every month we have a monthly meeting with the salon, as well as like one-on-one appointments with our owners. And at the beginning of every meeting, we all share a quote, and that quote was my owner's quote that week. So
it's a good one.
It is a good one, and it's ingrained in there now. You got to work hard for what you want, for sure. So I think that we have hit all of our topics. Am I correct, Anna?
Yes.
Is there any other? You had some questions that you like bookmarked in your head. Did you want to recap and end with those? We got them out. Perfect.
Yeah, I feel like Amber, I could talk to you forever and listen to you talk forever. I do have a lot more questions, but we'll either have to schedule like a personal call or do a second episode.
I think we should do a second episode for sure.
Yeah. So we are gonna close with a hair myth, and I do have a myth for you guys, and I love this one, and I don't think we've done it on the show. If we have, everyone, you're gonna have to tell me. But all right, the myth is cold water. Cold water rinse makes hair shinier. True or false?
False.
I'm
Amber?
gonna actually disagree.
Oh, that's the first time we've had a
Dun
disagreement.
dun dun. Okay. So Amber, what are your
Okay.
thoughts?
So you're in the shower, it's nice and hot, you've got your conditioner on, your mask on, your treatment, you are living life, you're shaving your legs, whatever, that conditioner is doing its thing. You rinse with cool water. When you have your hair hot, it slightly swells the cuticle of the hair. You have your conditioner on and you rinse it with cold water, you are going to trap ever so slightly a little bit more of that conditioner in. And I do believe that it would make your hair a little bit shinier.
Okay, I see your point. That is a very valid point. I think I
Okay.
changed my mind.
Okay, well, you guys, this is what the article says. It's from
Uh-oh.
aarp.org. The truth is, ice water will certainly wake you up, but it won't close your cuticle or pores for that matter. So they lay flat. Each hair has a cuticle coating. That cuticle is made up of single overlaying cells. The theory that chilly water makes hair lie flat is bunk. So, yeah, only color changes the cuticle by swelling them. So actually, temperature doesn't cause the cuticle to swell. A warm shampoo or steamy hot, followed by a warm to cool water rinse, can minimize cuticle frizz because I guess it's not drying it out.
Okay.
Opt for good shine boosting leave-in conditioner or styling product, and occasionally going in for a glossing treatment at the salon could keep the color treated hair a little bit more light reflective. So they're saying that cold water, like, because it's ammonia that swells the cuticle, it's not heat, right?
That is true, but we've always also been taught that heat swells and cold shrinks.
Right. Huh.
But you know
Interesting.
what? Jessica Mills always says the cuticle is not like a door. It can't be opened and shut. So it wouldn't make
Very
a
true.
difference if it was hot or
No.
cold.
But obviously using your conditioners to fill in those like the gaps in the cuticle
Right.
will with the shine. But yeah, no, ice water does not make your hair shiny. It does.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So no ice baths for you.
You heard it here, folks.
I don't ever rinse my hair in cold water either. So
I don't either.
No.
I'd much listen. It's the happiness over discomfort. You know?
Absolutely.
Well, that's all we have for this week, and it was quite a bit. So if you made it to this point in the episode, thanks. If you're listening on your favorite podcasting app, as always, we always begging for reviews, but those reviews actually do help get us to the trending pages in our specific categories. And there's not a lot of hairdresser podcasts out there, y'all. So I don't think it would be that hard to hit the trending page. So give us a review. Let us know how we're doing. As we always do, we have a word of the week to comment on our YouTube channel. So even if you are listening on your favorite podcasting app, make sure to go over to our YouTube channel and comment. Amber, give us a word of the week.
Delightful.
Comment delightful on our YouTube channel. If you'd like to follow us all on our social media journeys, I am at HairXHunter on all of the things. Our podcast Instagram is at Breakroom Banter Pod, and Anna's Instagram is at Anna.shr8hair. And Amber, hit us with your Instagram handle.
My Instagram is Amber Wishart Hair or Indigo and Ash Co.
You heard it here, folks. All of these links will be down below. And thanks for listening to another episode of Break Room Banter. Until next time, bye.
Bye.